Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stock. This video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm here today to talk to you about NNDM. I've done a deep dive into the information that underlies this company to see really where it can go. I did trade it as a swing trade. I sold half my position last time they popped up over $10. Then there was the capital raise. It's been sitting somewhere around $9 since then, and I wanted to know, is there an investment opportunity with this company going forward? It is a company that I see a lot of fundamental strength to, especially following my deep dive. Also, by popular demand, I'm going to talk a little bit about BNGO, BNGO, biogenomics. Some people are wondering, what should I do with this stock? Is it a good time to buy this stock? I'll give you my opinion on that, especially in light of the public offering that they've made recently. We'll get to that soon. So we got a lot to talk about, so let's get ready to rock. Before we get started, down in the description, there's a link for Webull. If you sign up for an account, you get 2 free stocks. Deposit $100, get 2 more free stocks. Those 4 free stocks are a minimum of $21 total, up to a maximum of $3,700. I get 2 free stocks just for you helping me out. I appreciate it. It supports this channel. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like the video, tell your friends about it. Now let's get into the NNDM stock and how I feel the price action is going to carry out for the short term and heading into more of a long-term prediction. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of information. It spans multiple tabs within my browser. Just bear with me for the time being. I broke it down into what I think are the salient points. Not all of them are listed here. Some of the other resources just say it better. So we have printed circuit board manufacturing, which is sort of the current style that's been around for, it, as it says right here, 40 years. It's done remotely, it's factory development, it's slow, and that IP is for intellectual property. You have the chance for intellectual property theft, because if you develop a product and you have to send it out in order to get the printed circuit board made, then another company knows what it is. With NNDM, you have in-house development, so that reduces the chance for intellectual property theft. And this round-the-clock development, that's important because this is pretty much no human interaction. Printed circuit boards, they have 40 years of established practices going for them, so they're not going to go anywhere anytime soon. There's such a big knowledge base around them. However, with this new technology that we have with the 3D printing for these circuits coming from NNDM, and they do have some competitors, but the competitors don't necessarily have the same quality, and they don't have the same penetration or market offerings. NNDM was established much more recently, so it doesn't have the knowledge that surrounds it, but it can create printed circuit board style boards if you want to, or if you need to. Right now, they're at a prototyping stage, but they want to scale it up to manufacturing. More on that soon. So this one's already at scale. That's an advantage that they have going for it. So if you're ready to manufacture in bulk, if companies are ready to manufacture in bulk, printed circuit boards can. Current scalability is one of the things. It's one of the goals. I'll show you that soon too. NNDM is the sole manufacturer in the way that they're the leader in their field, that nobody else offers both the hardware through the Dragonfly system and the ink that goes along with it. Yoav Stern, hopefully I'm saying his name correct, the CEO for Nano Dimension, he says that there's companies that have machines and do some style of printing, but it's 2D printing, and then there's other machines that are made by a German company, but they're made per spec to companies who order those 3D printers from them. There's another company out of Japan who makes just the ink, but they don't make the printers. NNDM makes the Dragonfly system, which is the printer, and they also develop the ink that goes along with it. Also, they have research going into materials where they would develop inks depending on the application, because not every industry needs the same sort of material properties as the others. With printed circuit boards, you have centralized manufacturing. Everything needs to be sent out. Yoav says that in the Eastern Hemisphere, and I believe in Asia is what he's referring to, is where most of the $60 billion for the printed circuit board industry lies. And this is more of a decentralized manufacturing model. And that, the more I read into it, the more key I think that it is to the success of NNDM. Before I get to this stuff over here in this column, I want to scroll down a little bit. The high performance electronic devices, or the HPEDs, one of the ways that NNDM is superior in that is that there's multi-layer printed circuit boards that they have. and multi-layered circuitry is something that vastly improves performance. I have another area where I'll show you where somebody says it better than me. Nano Dimension, every industry, this is also in their presentation, they just globally, you mentioned the continent, they're there except for maybe Antarctica. Market demand for for increased density and complexity. They have shorter time to market for companies who use their product, that they can prototype much faster, and so they can develop much faster. So it's a shorter time to get their product actually out to the market. So they're facilitating people's development. And then the software that they use is called Switch. And in the most recent iteration that they have lights out digital manufacturing, which refers to the fact that in the past, there was a lot of human interaction in the process with this 3D printing of the high performance electronic devices. And with the most recent iteration, there's no human interaction beyond telling it to create the product. And then the Dragonfly goes and makes the product. Oh, here's two things that I covered up. So the Dragonfly system itself, it's the size of 2 refrigerators. Again, that's coming from Yoav himself, versus the large factories, large machines, and all those machines and developmental stages and people involved. It really keeps the expense up. Whereas here, there's much less involved in the process of making that. And scalability is something that they're working on. This goes well with the clean energy movement because you have this high efficiency, you have this shrinking of materials, it's very low waste, it's faster and cheaper than the other than the printed circuit boards as far as getting your product. It can be optimized per application, and that can be done in-house based on the engineers who are creating it. It's in its developmental stages, so as an investor, that's something that's important. If you believe in this company fundamentally, this is the time that you want to get in. I realize that some of that promise has already been priced into the stock. And so if you look at the technicals, if you look at the financials that they have, it will say overpriced. But in my opinion, I think that we're far from overpriced. I think that we just have people who recognize the promise for what it is, including ARK Invest themselves. So as far as market monopoly, sort of. They're the only ones who do exactly what they do, as far as I know. And again, that's basing off what Yoav said in his interview. I think it was in June of last year. There's a company that makes the printer, but only prints in 2D. There's a German company who makes 3D printers for electronics, but they contract out to companies who hire them to make the printers. And then there's a company in Japan who makes the ink. NNDM is the only company that I see that really encompasses that. So they stand a chance for monopoly. I'll get more to that in just a moment. And this decentralized manufacturing model, the power that comes from that is the knowledge base that can be leveraged from it, because it is so new. People are used to planning out their circuitry for printed circuit boards in 2 dimensions, or it would be stacking printed circuit boards if you're going to scale it up to 3 dimensions. That now they're finding new applications that NNDM didn't think of. The people who are using it for their research and development are showing them what they're doing with the Dragonfly technology, and NNDM is impressed. They said, wow, we didn't realize that our system could do that. Show us how you do that. And that's with only 60 Dragonflies sold. Yoav believes that it will quickly go from dozens that they have now up to hundreds, and then quickly go from hundreds up to thousands within the next few years. All right, so I found this site on multi-layer printed circuit boards, and they mentioned the benefits of having them: higher assembly density, smaller size, and then they say about considerable savings on space. And that's huge for shrinking the technology that we're using, and also really conserving the resources that we use, which is really environmentally conscious, especially considering the amount of waste that we have with the printed circuit boards. There's a revolution in here with NNDM. In their presentation to investors, they note that they can print 50 layers with the Dragonfly technology. If you look at the applications, this one, even though it's talking about the printed circuit boards that you would have, which would be the traditional route to go, you can see all of the areas that would stand to benefit. And this isn't even necessarily the same one. So this isn't coming just from NNDM themselves. This is from companies who just talk about the traditional view that we would have for printed circuit boards. On this site, they talk about the disadvantages to the PCBs. For instance, higher cost. Multi-layer PCBs are significantly more expensive than single or double layer PCBs at every stage of the manufacturing process. So that cost spiking enormously, if it really does, if the cost scales up with every layer that you add, I can't imagine that with NNDM, that the cost is going to scale the same way. Really, it would be the cost of the ink and the time that it takes to do the process through the Dragonfly system. So it's time, which I realize time is money. However, look at this sentence right here. It says any mistake in the manufacturing or assembly process prohibitively difficult to rework. Dragonfly already does this on its own through using AI technology. All right, about ARK Invest. ARK Invest already bought over 5 million shares of this company. I believe this is as of January the 7th that this report came out. They have almost a $50 million stake in this company, and that's 2.37% of their ARKQ ETF. All right, finally, their investor presentation. So there's the complex multi-layer PCB, printing up to 50 layers. Here they have a picture showcasing the lab space that it would take in order to make traditional PCBs, and then this, which you'll have compared to the size of 2 refrigerators. Here in this factory, you would have a lot of human interaction. You have a lot of materials. You have, I think that these would be the acid reservoirs, or maybe some of it would be, I think it's called a dielectric coating, versus this machine where it's wholly contained. Here they're telling us 60 systems. They do have a strong cash position. They did multiple capital raises throughout the year, and investors, after a while, tend not to like to see the price go up and then see their shares get diluted. But I think they did it for good reason. And I'll show that to you in just a moment. Before I get to all the capital raises, right here, this is about their stages of the scalability. And I'd like to point out that these stages, as you watch them go across, we are already in 2021. We are already at that stage 1 level. And between 21 and 22, it comes our stage 2 and then stage 3. And through those stages, you get greater manufacturing capabilities. All right. Finally, before we get to the chart, is this from Globe Newswire that talks about NNDM and how they persevered through the pandemic. We at Nano Dimension cannot stop the tsunami. However, we have enough air to dive under it and emerge in the midterm as even clearer winners, potentially, maybe with a few other last men standing. They did the capital raises so that they could survive the pandemic, so that they could work on their research and development, so that way they could come out strong into their marketing and really make a big impact in the market and scale up their production. They do say anywhere Q1 2021 or Q2 2021. Because of the way vaccines are lagging, I tend to believe Q2 2021, but I'm not sure that we would even see the results of that until Q3 2021. So the price that we have now, we might see some of the positive effects in the earnings reports as they put them out in their sales, but they don't really even plan to make a move on it. But they say in this next statement, we're not really even going to see the results of it for the next 12 months. So if you buy now, 12 months from now, you could be sitting in a really nice position. They only have 60 machines sold. They started a customer advisory board because they found that by leveraging that knowledge base, they could improve what their machines can do. Imagine if instead of 60 machines being sold for that customer advisory board to participate, that it was 500. Or imagine that it was 1,000, and you really start to build up that knowledge base, and those engineers start to form a network where they're able to talk with each other and troubleshoot the problems that they're having, at least with NNDM, if they're not able to work across for intellectual property reasons. So this is going to cause a reciprocal loop that's going to keep research and development going and can keep Nano Dimension growing as a company moving forward. All right, finally, for NNDM, for their share price. Right now, they're sitting at about $9.13. You can see it wasn't a huge day for them. There was that nice run up in yesterday's market when pretty much all of the stocks were up. And then today, it corrected just a little bit off of that. We can see that it still has a bullish trend, although more recently, it's been consolidating in kind of a whippy, volatile way. But it's sort of a volatile market, so that's to be expected. But if we take the average of that, sitting around $9, I would say that that's about right. And I don't know that it's going to move much in the near future, not without any sort of big news coming out of NNDM, which I don't anticipate until the earnings come out in Q4 for 2020, their yearly results. But that's the pandemic year when it really hit. Q1 of 2021, we could find some really good news. Q2 might be really, really good, but they did say another 12 months. So really, I look for the end of 2021 to be the first time that we really start to see some major progress going on with NNDM. I give it 12 months to double. In the near term, I expect some more consolidation. I'm going to keep an eye on it for some direction. I am going to take a much larger position with this company. All right, as promised, I said that I would talk about BNGO. This will be a lot quicker than what it was for NNDM, but I think some people are looking for some direction on this stock, especially for those who got in during that hype day that we had, we had that pent-up demand from waiting over the weekend. And when we were able to buy into that rapid upward trend that was happening, I was lucky. I got in around $2.10 per share. I took about a 1% position with my portfolio. When I saw it go up on New Year's Eve in the after hours, I took half my position. I was letting the rest of it ride, and then I watched it go up over $7, and that was just so much, so fast. I took another half of that yet, leaving myself only with a quarter position for the long term. Right now, I'm sitting in the green on this one, and I don't really plan on selling anytime soon for that quarter position. People are asking, am I going to buy into this? Not yet. What I would like to see is I would like to see more of a floor on this. It is good news, in my opinion, that the public offering of $3.05 per share didn't do a lot to drag this down more. The fact that this price was resilient to that public offering of $3.05, that could be a good sign for us. People might be holding their breath. They could still be buying the rumor for the symposium that's coming up next week. We'll see if the news gets sold next week. But what we want to look for is consolidation in this stock. We would like to look for a good floor because we didn't have any. We didn't know where the bottom of this thing was. We didn't know how far it was going to come down. And right now we finally have at least some sort of support level. It's not great confirmation yet. We would like to see more, but $3.80. So if you bought in when it was really high, it doesn't mean that it's time to panic. This is a penny stock. It's super high risk. You should know your risks before you enter a trade. Penny stocks are a place where more often than not, people get burned. There's very few people who time it correctly and really get that money. People are prone to FOMO trading these, and you just can't put that information in. You need to applaud the people who got in at the right time if you didn't get in at the right time, and wait for the next opportunity to come around. Don't trade because you feel like this could take off. You want to make sure that you do your due diligence, that you contact your financial professional, and that you really see what they have to say about entering the trade. I rushed trades when I was younger, and I was a 25-year-old guy, and I tried rushing into penny stocks thinking, hey, this could go big. And more often than not, I found out about it after the pop already happened, and I was caught it at the top and was stuck as an investor in that trade for a price that a lot of times, because penny stocks don't go well very often at all, I got stuck in the trade. My first account at 25 years old, it was not much. It was every penny I had at about $1,000, and it was gone in 2 months' time. I've learned since then. I've wisened up since then. I don't trade on emotion. I don't trade on hope. I do my research. I do my due diligence. I find stocks and companies that I think are solid. BNGO, it looks like it has some promise to it. We need to find out what sort of promise that is, how solid it is. It needs to find its own place within the genomics market. And stock price wise, we need to find out if this really is the bottom at $3.88. We want this to consolidate for a while to establish a nice solid bottom. And we'd like to take a longer time to see that bullish trend mature. So where do I see this price going? For today, it closed up. I think that people will sell the news when it comes out next week. We might see a steady climb if that news is good news, and we might have to wait until the week following after that. Really, it's so early in this stock, we just need to wait to see it play out. In my opinion, it still has potential given its fundamentals and given the technology that's out there already. Be patient. Watch it. I know this is for entertainment purposes only. This is my opinion that I'm giving you. This is exactly what I do, is I'm just sitting back and waiting. I'm not ready to take a larger position because I don't know where that floor is. Once I do, I'm willing to put in some more money. I better wrap things up. NNDM, I believe that fundamentally they're a great company. I think that they might be overvalued right now for what they currently possess and what they currently do, but I think that's going to scale up quickly. I think it's going to go global within the next few years, especially as they move more into the manufacturing side and out of the prototyping side. My plan is to buy more now while they're consolidating. There's not really a lot of news about it. For BNGO, I would like to see its current price mature a little bit more. I would like to see some consolidation, less volatility. We'll see what happens with the buy the rumor, sell the news. With all the news coming out of the symposium next week, we might hear some really good things. We might find out some surprising things. I really hope that they have good things for us. They sound like a promising company, and I want them so badly to be the promising company that they can be, especially if they step into the treatment and diagnosis of diseases, which I believe requires FDA approval. From what I've read, from what I've seen, I believe that to be the case. In their current capacity, I don't believe that they need FDA approval. That's what I have for you today. I hope that you found it informative. Find that Webull link down below. Get your 4 free shares. $21 minimum for depositing $100. That's 21% gain. That's awesome. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, share it with your friends. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own due diligence, your own research. Inform your perspective as best you can. Contact a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. I'm Dr. Stock. Thanks for rocking with me. Now go get that money.